Welcome to Real Judaism with Rabbi Klapper. Unfiltered wisdom for Jewish life.
So, we're here continuing. I'm just going to take a few minutes to discuss the book, the main sefer that we're basing these shiurim off of, and that's a sefer called Zeh Katan Gadol Yeh, or From Boys to Men, by Dr. Shloime Zimmerman. Happens to be, I know his brother-in-law very well, who is a chavrusa of mine. I didn't only knew that after I read some of the acknowledgments, but I read through the entire sefer, and there's a lot of very, very positive points that I wanted to share, which is why I wanted to base the shiurim on this sefer. Dr. Shloime Zimmerman is a psychologist, and he specializes, I'll just read to you from his, what it says about him. This way I can be much more accurate who he is. Let's see. You can hear about the author. Dr. Shloime Zimmerman is a psychologist, a licensed clinical psychologist, founded and directs child and adult psychology services, a multidisciplinary group mental health practice. So he works with child development and abuse prevention and trauma, and he has a whole organization that does this. He wrote this sefer for the good of the frum community, because there aren't really any books that deal with this type of topic from a psychologist's perspective and also a Jewish perspective. Because if you're going to find it from a psychologist's perspective, it's not going to take into account the uniqueness of the frum Jew and how that plays a role in the difficulties that when it comes to ideas relating to sexuality, and the difficulties that young men have, or even older people, but it's really geared towards younger men in this area. And so he wrote this book, and he took into a great deal into account the perspective of the frum Jew, who uses the Torah as his guide. And the book was written together with the skamas of the Gedolei Yisrael of America. In the very beginning, he has the skamas there, including Rav Aaron Feldman, and just to read some of them: Rav Simcha ben Cohen, who's a big poisik in Lakewood; Rabbi Dr. Abram J. Twersky; Rav Bender from Darchei Torah; Rav Shalom Kamenetsky, and I believe Rav Shmuel Kamenetsky as well. Yes, amongst others. So that's what we're basing these shiurim off of. I'm going to be using it as a springboard, and I have been using it as a springboard in order to bring up many of these issues. So today, I want to talk about different feelings of guilt that come with these types of things. Guilt is potentially very, very harmful and potentially a good thing. We say that the Klal Yisrael has 3 midos, right? If you don't have one of these midos, then there's a chashash, maybe you're not really part of Klal Yisrael. And one of them is baishonim, that rachmanim, baishonim, and gomli chasodim. That Klal Yisrael is merciful, they're baishonim, which we'll explain in a second, and they're gomli chasodim, then they're involved in chesed. These are parts of the essence of Klal Yisrael. What is baishonim? Baishonim means that they're embarrassed. Klal Yisrael is a nation that has busha, that has embarrassment. Now, what does that mean? It's meant as a good thing. It's not meant as a bad thing. Busha can be used in a good way, and it can be used in a bad way, depending on what type of busha it is. What am I embarrassed about? What's the embarrassment? Busha as an embarrassment really stems from how do you feel about yourself in the first place? That's really the shorish of that we're going to be starting off of. That's going to define for us whether a person has a good type of embarrassment or a bad type of embarrassment. Obviously, people would rather do anything than be embarrassed. Being embarrassed there's a reason why Chazal say that the person who is embarrassed in public, somebody embarrasses somebody else in public, then ein lo chelik in olam haba, right? It's a very, very big deal. They call it ritzicha. It's like murder. To embarrass somebody else in public. People would rather do anything in order to not be embarrassed in public, even though being embarrassed is actually, if you're going to have one type of yisurin, if you could think objectively about it, what's the best type of yisurin to have? The best type of pain for a person to have. Best type is it to lose all your money? Is it to have physical pain? Or is it to be embarrassed? If you had a choice of the three, one of these three, you had to go through one of them. You're either going to lose all your money, everything, you're going to be dirt poor, you're going to be in physical pain, tremendous physical pain, or embarrassment. Which of the three would a person choose if they had a choice? So you would say, if you could handle it, embarrassment. But embarrassment really could kill somebody. A person could die really from embarrassment. But if you can get through it, then you're okay. You didn't lose all your money and you're still physically okay. But it's incredibly, incredibly powerful to be embarrassed. It's incredibly powerful. Therefore, we have to realize that a person, when he goes through certain things and he's embarrassed, he's embarrassed. So what does that mean? It means I don't want it to happen and I'm willing to do anything that it won't happen. Right? Now, the embarrassment, most of the time, a person is not embarrassed by themselves. I'm not embarrassed of myself. If a person is embarrassed of themselves, that's already a much, much deeper rooted problem. It means that a person is lacking or it could be any self-esteem. They don't view themselves as anything good. A person is embarrassed of themselves. It means that they feel themselves as being so low, I'm undeserving of anything, that could very easily lead to suicide. A person who feels that way, that I'm worthless, I'm completely worthless, easily can kill themselves. What's the point? What do I have to live for? I'm nothing. I am a nothing. If a person has that feeling of embarrassment of themselves, that is very, very bad. And many times a person who goes through these challenges that we know that all normal boys have these challenges when it comes to people of the opposite gender. So that can make a person feel like they feel so low that they feel like there's no point in living life.
But you want men to feel like nothing.
Why? Oh, so that's what we're talking about. That's the other type. What does it mean? There's a different type of busha. There's another type of busha. A person is supposed to know, and that's what the Mishnah says, Bishvili nivra olam. The Mishnah in Masechet Sanhedrin says every person should say, Bishvili nivra olam. The world was created for me. What? No, it's a Gemara in Sanhedrin. It's a Mishnah in Sanhedrin. It's not a Mishnah in Novus. The whole world was created for me. Which means that we have an intrinsic self-worth. Every single Jew has an intrinsic self-worth that is so high that the whole world could die just for him, which is also a dangerous thing because it can lead to a person having taivah, which is why there has to be a balance. But if a person really felt, I am mamish, nothing, then they can kill themselves. So what happened? Why bishvili nivra olam? What do you mean? It's not because of me. So there's a different type of busha. The different type of busha actually stems from the fact that I know that I'm chashuv. I know how chashuv I am. I know that HaKadosh Baruch Hu made me so chashuv. And if I'm so chashuv like that, how could I do such a thing? I am such a great person. How could I lower myself to do something like that? That type of embarrassment is a good type of embarrassment because it stems from a real understanding of that I really am big. I really am special. And that's where we have to start from. We have to start with the basis of who am I? What am I worth? Every person, every Jew should certainly feel that all the time. We say every day, Asher bocher bonu mikol ha'amim. We say every day Hashem chose us. He chose me. You wonder, I say I'm a Jew every day. Shalom asani goy. Every single day I say Shalom asani goy. What, I'm not special? Of course I am. And Jews are the chosen nation and they're above everybody else. The Kuzari says, yes, I know it's being recorded. Yeah, the Kuzari says that when HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the world and he created different levels of creation, there are 5 levels of creation. The lowest level is domem. Domem. Domem means inanimate objects. Kodesh Baruch Hu created them too. Domem is the lowest, an inanimate object. Above that is tzomeach. Tzomeach, plant life. Plant life. Plant life grows. It has a certain life to it. It reproduces. Above that is the animal kingdom. No, the Shratzim are also considered part of the animal kingdom. Yes, they were creating on different days. So birds and fish were creating on different days than the other animals. But they're called Chai. They're alive. Above Chai is Adam. And above Adam is Yehudi. A Jew is different. And we should be proud. Every day we say, Hashem, you chose up. You are the creator of the world. You're everything. And you chose us. We are more important than anything that there is in the world. And we should feel proud of that. And if we're so proud and we feel so good about ourselves, so we shouldn't lower ourselves to be like the Goyim. We shouldn't lower ourselves to do things like the Goyim do. Because would I want to be eating out of the same bowl as the dog is eating out of? Is that I want to lower myself like that? I'm above that. And I have to feel my specialness. And I would be embarrassed to eat like a dog. Why would a person want to lower themselves? That's embarrassing. So when a person acts in a way that he knows is not on a level where he's at, he should be embarrassed about that. But it doesn't say that I'm worthless. If anything, it says I'm worth a lot. I'm worth a lot. I'm not going to lower myself for something like that. I'm much better than that. I would be embarrassed to do something like that. That's a good type of embarrassment. A person has to be careful which one he falls into, though. Which way are you? You have to realize, and then we all should realize, this Yetzer Hara is normal. Yes, we are above the other human beings in this world, but on a physical level, we're very, very similar. It's only on the spiritual level that we're way above. But on a physical level, it's very easy to fall into the same things that the Goyim do, especially because there's so much being thrown at us all the time in different ways that this is okay, this is good, you're allowed to do that, you should be that way. So you start to believe it, maybe. That's why we have to renew this feeling all the time. We are special, we are different. We don't need to be acting like this. But because it's so hard, so we can understand why we have the challenge. And even without the Goyim throwing things at us, it's still a challenge. Every human being, even a Jew, has regular hormones. A male has male hormones. That's how Hashem created us. And because of that, we have our challenges. And certainly once you hit puberty or above, certainly in the teenage years, this is very, very hard. Even small things that seep in from the Goyish world, which maybe don't seem to have a big impact, do. I'll give you one example. Depending on when you grew up or where you grew up, it may have been an in thing to have a girlfriend. That may have been the two coolest guys were the guy who got, he was the best athlete. That was number one. And number two was the guy who somehow had all the girls around him. I don't know how that worked out, right? Those were that. You're cool if you're usually it's the same guy, right? Because the best athlete is also the one. So why is that? Why does a person feel that way? Why isn't the coolest, most popular guy the guy who knows the Toysus the best? Why? Maybe he is. Maybe where some places they grew up, that was the guy. But why aren't those guys why isn't that's what seeps in from the Goyish world? You're cool if you get all the girls. You're cool. And what happens then is that, first of all, it's subconscious. It goes in because you see it on a movie, a show.
I think it's so much that if you're cool, you get that. If you get all the girls, you're cool. I think it's more that if you're cool.
Okay, either way you put it. The Maisa, the guy who's not getting all the girls don't feel cool. Yeah? And because of that, there's a pressure. The pressure is, I'm a loser. Now he still has, on the one hand, he has the taivah. And on the other hand, he also feels like he's a loser. Because the definition of what's great What's not great is defined by what he's seen numerous times on whatever television shows he watches or whatever movies he sees, that he realizes that that's the cool guys and I'm obviously not cool because I'm not like that, right? I also don't know how to like blow up cars and do all the crazy stuff that they do. So there's nothing redeeming about me. So I'm just a loser. And a person's self-esteem can plummet because of that. Who am I? I'm a nobody. It's not true. That's not true. And these things seep in from the outside world because it's all there and it's pushing at us and because we let it in. But even without that, that makes it much worse. But even without that, just regular hormones. Just regular hormones. And we go through all different things in life. Everybody has their story. Everybody has, right? Chazal tell us every person is an olam mole. Every person is a whole world. Every single person has their own story. And most of us, if not almost all of us, have had difficulties over the course of the times in our life. And we're not Yechidim. Just because we're sitting here in this room doesn't make us Yechidim. This is probably true for basically everybody. Right? Even that boy from Mea She'arim who looks like he didn't step foot out of those Dalet Amos, I'm sure he also had his nisyonos, and we don't even know what they are. Everybody's had their nisyonos. And everybody is starting off from a place where, I can't do it. It's too hard. And because of that, we might fall into a trap. Because when a person is feeling down about themselves, that's when the Yetzer Hara can get in there and say, you know what? I'm here to make you feel good. I'm here to make you feel good. Yetzer Hara presents himself as your best friend. He's your best friend. I'm here to help you. You feel bad? I'm here to pick you up. How are you going to do that? How are you going to pick me up? Oh, I'm going to make you so happy. You ready? Here, look at these pictures. Doesn't that make you feel happy? Doesn't that make you feel excited? Don't you feel good when you look at these pictures? Doesn't it make you feel good maybe to get involved with, a girl? Doesn't it make you feel better? It makes you, build up your self-esteem, right? It makes you feel good. And that's how Yetzer Hara gets in there. And he causes us to do things that we're not supposed to do. And we know that we're not supposed to do them. And when we do them, we feel bad. It makes us feel even worse. So we feel down. And then the Yetzer Hara says, you feel down? What do you got to lose anyway? Here, take some more. You're feeling down anyway. Might as well have a little bit of pleasure in your life. Just do some more. That's the feeling that comes when a person forgot who he is. You forgot. You're a Ben Melech. You don't need this stuff. You're much bigger than that. You're much better than that. The problem is that we get stuck. We get lost. We get lost in the here and now. In the few seconds of being down, we forget who we are be'etzim. That's why we have to be mechazik ourselves, and we're supposed to do that every day. Be mechazik. We are special. Klal Yisrael is special, and I'm a member of Klal Yisrael, and I'm special too. And I have a special mission in this world that nobody else has, and that's what I have to do. And I'm not going to let the Yetzer Hara ruin it. And we need chizuk, because the Yetzer Hara doesn't give up. The Yetzer Hara never stops. Never. Hashem is there to help us, and Hashem never stops either. As long as we're going to put in the effort, and we're going to try, and we're going to do the right thing, we'll be able to overcome it. But the key is remember who you are. Don't forget, we're Ben Melech. Don't forget, every one of us is special. Every one of us is big. Every one of us has so many great milas. Just the fact that you're a Jew. That's it. I read a story. I think Rabbi Klapper brings a story in one of his sefer about a man who, I think maybe Rabbi Pinkus also brings a story about a man during the times of the Inquisition. I don't know how they know this story, but there's a man during the times of the Inquisition, the Spanish Inquisition. How do you say Inquisition in Hebrew? Inquisitia? Inquisitia. Yeah? Inquisitia Hasfaradit. Right? The Spanish Inquisition, where... Yeah, but it expanded to many different countries also. It was originally meaning that it came from Spain, but it's expanded. Gerush Sfarad, but it lasted way longer than that. Gerush Sfarad, and then hundreds of years it was the Spanish Inquisition. Started off around then. Lamaisa, they were trying to find Jews who pretending to be Christians but were really Jews. And unfortunately, there were a lot of people like this. Many of them wasn't their fault. They were born into it. It's one thing if their parents did the wrong thing by not leaving Spain, but the kids, you can't really blame their children who were born into it. And now they're stuck. What are they going to do? And there are many stories about these people getting caught or were trying to run away. And there's a story about a certain family that ran away. They ran away, and they were a very, very rich family, and they ran away, and they had a little bit of money to take with them just to be able to pay for things on their journey. And slowly, one by one, each one of the family members died. He lost his wife. One child died. Another child died. And they were constantly running, and they're running out of money, until the father, the husband, was left with nobody. He was left with nothing. He had no children. He had no money. All he had was the clothing on his back. And he turned to Hashem, and he said, Hashem, you took away everything from me. Everything. I have nothing left. There are many people in the Holocaust, this happened exactly the same way. You don't have to go back 400 years to have people like this. My grandfather, Allah Shalom, who lived to the age of 95, lost his entire family, parents, siblings. He was a bacher at the time. He wasn't married, but everybody, everything. He had no family at all, no home, no money, nothing. By the end of the war, there was nothing. And so this man, he turns to Hashem and he says, Hashem, you took away everything from me. You took away everything. I have nothing left. There are only two things that I have left. One is my life. He says, it's my life. You can take away my life too. That also you can take away. The other thing that I have is my emunah. He said, you could take away my life, but you can't take away my emunah. That you can't take away from me. Somebody who has been through so much pain, so much suffering, but understands and sees there's a much greater purpose in life, and I'm part of that purpose. That, if you strip away everything, if a person still has that means they know who they are. I'm not the money that I have. I'm not the clothing that I wear. I'm not the image that I give off. Who am I really? When a person has a strong core and knows exactly who they are, and they feel good about themselves, that is the best tool against the Yetzer Hara. That's the best thing that you can. Yetzer Hara, you can't get me. Do you know why? Because I know who I am, and I'm much better than that. You can't convince me to do these silly little things that lower me, because I know exactly who I am. So that is the main tool, really the main tool that we can use in any situation where the Yetzer Hara comes to us, whether it's in Shmiras Einayim or Shmiras Habris, or anything related to any other form of arayas like Nigia or anything like that. This is our main tool. Realize this is beneath me. I am so much better than that. Now, I would be embarrassed to do such a thing because I'm so great. I'm not embarrassed because I feel so low, like I'm a nobody. I'm embarrassed because I'm a somebody. I would never want to do something like that because I'm so good. I'm so much better than that. The more we can be mechazik that, the better this area of our life will be, and the better all areas of our life will be. Okay, we'll stop over here. Dwaya.
Thank you for joining Real Judaism, where we explore Torah's wisdom for real life. Created by J Foundations and produced by Eli Podcast Productions. Find more episodes at realjudaism.org and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.